this is kind of like part 2 to the video I made about, you know, your path in life and what direction you want to take and what direction you should take. Because I think a lot of people get into what they like or what they think they should be doing, and then they hit rough patches, and they're like, oh, this is not sure if this is the right thing, if I should be doing this or not. And that's from personal experience. I remember when I was in college, you know, studying exercise science, like, it's like everybody I talked to was like, oh, you're not going to find a job. You know, exercise science isn't an industry where you can just kind of go out. You're kind of limited, whether you want to be a trainer or you want to work at a gym. Not a lot of financial growth in that kind of position. And that's all I heard for 4 years, basically. That's all I heard. And it kind of shook me up, you know, but I was like so driven and determined to make this an actual, you know, growing, prosperous thing that I just kind of stuck with it. I kept pushing it. And there's so many times where I got into that. Once I graduated, you know, in the working world and stuff like that, there's so many times where, like, I wanted to be like, dude, they were so right. Like, this is not, you're not going to go anywhere. This is, you know, it's not, it's going to take forever and blah, blah, blah. So I started to second guess and question, even when I was in classes, whether I should be doing this, if this was the right thing. And I mean, it came down close to the point where I was just like, man, I'm just not even going to do this. I'm just going to start working and make some money and just kind of, you know, jump out of this whole college thing and see if I can get on, you know, just a normal life of just working and just work my way up, I guess you can say. And I think what's important to know and understand, and you know, I know from my experience, you know, taking a road that you know, you're not going to pick or choose something that's going to be perfect, and you're not going to get into an industry or whatever you're choosing and not run into, like, you know, hard spots and struggle and push through it and question whether you should be doing it or not. I think, you know, things are put on your heart, you know, passions and why you enjoy doing something for a reason, like I said in the post before this. So when you get into something and you're hitting those hard times, it's not because you should be getting out. You know, a lot of people get into what they think they should be doing, and, you know, whether it be a spiritual thing, you know, saying that this is what God's kind of put on my heart to do, this is what I'm passionate about, I feel like this is where my direction's going. So they get into it, and then they see all this different stuff go wrong, you know, and they're like, oh, well, this isn't right, I gotta back out. And that's not the case at all. You have to be refined in any industry that you get into, whether it be business, whether it be, you know, medical, you know, whatever it is. You have to be refined. You're not going to go into it knowing everything, being great at it, being perfect at it. Yes, you may have, you know, a solid set of skills. You may be naturally gifted in that area, but you're still going to be stretched. You're still going to be pushed and molded and all that stuff that's going to make you feel like you're a failure. You're going to get into it and you're going to fail and you're going to fail and you're going to fail. But every time you fail, you get refined. You get molded into being a better person. That's a decision that you made that you may have failed at, but because of that failure, you're going to change things around, you're going to make some changes, and you're going to come out better. So don't think because you've gotten to a path in life or a decision when it comes to jobs or something like that, and you hit some rough times, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You've got to stick it out. Every direction that you take is going to come into you're going to hit obstacles, and that's very important to just understand and just realize that. I think if you're not meant to do something, you're going to know, and it may not be the first week or the first month, but every direction you take is going to take you to the ultimate direction where you should be going. It's not like, well, if I go left or right and I'm supposed to go right but I go left instead, my life's jacked up, I'm going the wrong way. Now if it's coming to like drugs and, you know, crazy stuff like that, then yes, that's definitely a right and left turn. But when it comes to direction in life, you take a right, you're supposed to take a left, whatever. That right's going to eventually take you back to that left. You know, and I'm a firm believer in the fact that things like that happen. You know, no matter what road you take, as long as you're taking steps, those steps are going to lead to where you're ultimately supposed to be. You just got to stick it out. You know, definitely, you know, praying about it, giving it to God, and just trusting that whatever decision you make is going to be ultimately it's going to take you to where you need to be going. So, William, that's part 2 of that direction in life. Hope it helped you guys. See you guys later. Peace.